Shalom, Alessandro.
Ciao, Gil.
How are you?
I'm fine. So glad to meet you. Unfortunately, not in person. This is a strange period, but you know probably that I'm in love with Israel and Tel Aviv, so I'm coming to reach you as soon as possible.
We're waiting for you, and let me start by reading 5 facts about you that I've recently learned. Alessandro was born in Rome. He's one of the leading TV personalities in Italy, covering science, art, history, and culture. He's a university teacher of media and science of communication. His coming out was a huge event in Italian media, hitting front pages and breaking news. And this is a problem, he likes the wildlife and protection of an environment. What is it you have with nature? Nature is our enemy. Nature and sport.
You mean about desert or something like that?
Ugh. You know, people come to Israel, they go to the desert, they say the desert is beautiful. It's ugly. We hate the desert.
You're right. I am a metropolitan guy. I'm a metropolitan guy. I live in Rome, I live in Milan, I lived in the past in London and New York City, so I agree with you. But, you know, I want to save the wildlife as a place where to store energy, oxygen, biodiversity. I don't want to live inside. I just want to save it.
Let it be far away.
Yes.
You know, I have a problem. Each time I go to, let's say, Australia for a book conference, they always tell me, you must see our bay. We're going to go sailing on our bay. I hate bays. I love coffee shops in streets. This is nice.
I have something to propose you. If you come to visit me in Positano, the Amalfi Coast, in front of Capri, you can find both. You have all the coffee shop you want. You have the sea in front of you on the terrace, but you can also go safely with a boat because we have no wind, we have no waves, we have no sharks. So please come and try.
You have a house in Positano?
Yes, fortunately, my family left me.
Nice. Once I had a TV show where I was going to the world's best restaurants. Yeah. And I had an episode in Don Alfonso's restaurant.
As a very good friend of mine.
Really?
Yes.
So send them love from Gil. I know both their sons and everything, and they're a nice family.
I'm going in 15 days, and I book a table for us.
I'm coming. That's it.
Oh, I have a problem with you. I don't read about you because everybody knows, but I would like to point out that you were, or do you still are, I don't know, a very important member of the famous Tzahal, the famous army of Israel, and so you have a very important commander or something like that. That's correct?
Almost. I'll tell you that my army story. You know that in Israel, army service is mandatory, so it's 3 years for men and 2 years for women. And the army is the big matchmaker of the country because, you know, people 18-year-old get into the army. What do? They fall in love. So I met, I won't call him my husband because we're not married, but I met my partner of 32 years in the army. We both served in the intelligence service. He was my officer. And we have a 17-year-old daughter, and as she noticed when she was 4 years old, Gili, that's me, well, his name is Danny, so she noticed that Danny was Gili's officer in the army, and Gili is Danny's officer in life. And this is how it should be. And
wait. So you are in love, and you live with an officer of yours?
He used to be my officer, no longer. Now I'm the boss.
Who is commanding now at home?
I am.
Nothing new.
Well,
nothing changed.
Our daughter is the commander. She's 17 years old, and we're in love with her. She's amazing.
And I tell you a secret about me and the Tzahal.
Yes.
I had a very great love story with a soldier of your army, and we lived together in Tel Aviv for a while.
You're kidding.
Yeah, no, it's true.
How did I not know you then?
I really don't know. Probably because it was a little bit shy, because his family was very religious. So he wasn't so open to the society. You know what I mean?
I see. So tell me, do you have any children?
No, I've been married for 10 years with a lovely Spanish girl. Now she's living again in Madrid, but was a very love wedding. We decided not to have children because I traveled a lot because of my job, you know, TV, news, documentaries, and she wanted to travel with me all the time. So we decided not to have children because she didn't want to be a typical Italian wife and Italian mother all the time at home.
Yes, yes. That's very European of you. You know that I think that one of the big differences between gays in Israel and in the rest of the world is children. In Israel, we had like 10 or 15 years ago what we call the gay bee boom. All of the gay people had children all at once. All my friends, gays and lesbians, have children, to the last one of them. And I think that it's connected to the trauma of the Holocaust, of, you know, surviving, of keeping the lineage, etc. It's all about reproduction, and gays in Israel are always with children. It's amazing.
Yes, but please, I don't know this point so deeply. They want to have children, having friends to have them, or they had before becoming gay with a heterosexual.
In a regular marriage, yes. It's all cases. It's all cases.
Like me, but I have no children.
Yes. So I have friends who were married and therefore had children and later on came out. In our case, it's mutual parenting. So it's our daughter is biologically the daughter of Danny, my partner, and a lesbian friend of ours, and they made her together just because they decided to have a child way after Danny and I were together, and we raised her together, the three of us. In other cases, it's adoption. In other cases, it's surrogate mothers.
Okay. The point is
all kinds of arrangements.
The point is to have children.
Yes.
To populate Israel. I understand the point.
Yes.
Listen, my friend, I read that you are very good cooker and very fond of gourmet cuisine. Is true?
To tell you the truth, I don't know if I'm that good a cook, but I have been dealing with food for many years. I'm a restaurant critic. I love gourmet food, but the food I love best is simple food, usually cooked in a pot in red sauce and preferably served by a woman over 80 years old. Then it's perfect.
That's a. You know that Italy now is the oldest country in the world after Japan. So if you come to Italy, you can find all the women over 80 years old you want.
And they're my favorite, and I do find them, and it's always a very loving relationship. And I think it's connected to the fact that when I was growing up, my grandmother was living with us, you know, like with old families, the grandmother lives with the family. As it was put to us, we were living with her. She wasn't living with us. It was her home, and we lived there. And although we had two maids and, you know, everything was fine, she was in charge of the kitchen. So for me, it's remembering her.
It's typical of the southern part of Italy. You can find old women, grandmothers, and kitchen, a lot of tomato sauce wherever, and chili, pepperoncino. So you have to come to visit me as soon as possible. You can find whatever you need.
You be careful with your words, my friend, because I would come and you won't know how to get rid of me.
I don't want to. I just need to come after that on September to find you again in Tel Aviv.
Yes, you know, one of the revelations of Corona, since we have been at home for 5 weeks, later on people said, you know, that who needs friends? It was so fun to be at home, and people say making friends is difficult, but getting rid of them is even harder. So you beware, getting rid of me would be very difficult.
Listen, I have something for you. I've been in Tel Aviv once for the parade, our parade, you know, the gay parade.
Mm-hmm.
And they gave me, because I was invited to represent Italian movement, gay LGBT movement, and they gave me this flag. I don't know anymore what's written on. Can you try to translate again, because I forgot it?
It's upside down. It's Beit Dror. This flag was printed in a very, very, very nice establishment, Beit Dror, the house of Dror. Dror is a name. Yeah. It's a house for not children, but youth that leave home, gay youth that leave home and want to start again, but don't get support from their families. So this is a kind of safe haven for them.
So it's very important. They have them.
It's a good flag. No, now Israel is so different. You know, you have in Israel a gay youth movement. You have lessons in schools where gays and lesbians come to the schools to lecture about, you know, equality and to show children that gays are like everybody else. Actually, in my daughter's school, in my daughter's high school, a year ago, there was that kind of a lesson. So a man and a woman, both gay and lesbian, came to their school to lecture about gay rights, etc. And they started by saying, now, kids, listen, we're going to talk about homosexuality, about being a lesbian, etc. Sometimes some of you don't feel very comfortable with these issues. So if you want not to participate, or if you want to leave the class, it's perfectly okay. Don't be threatened. You don't have to, but listen to us. So my daughter says to them, come on, are you kidding me? All of our teachers are gay, which is sort of true. So Israel is very liberal in this sense. How is it in Italy?
Italy is becoming liberal about sex orientation, about gender. You know, we had a big problem in the past. We had 20 years of a fascist dictatorship and alliance with that Catholic Church of that period. I mean, 20s, 30s, and 40s. And a lot of people have been educated with the wrong values of a fascist dictatorship and a very, how could you say, conservative religion. So the old people needed a lot of time to understand that that's normal not to be together only between man and woman. There is a group of people still believing that the only right family is the so-called traditional family, man and woman. Now it's going better also because people like me, just a few still yet, started to say tell everybody, hey, I'm okay. I am the same of the before, and I'm still the same, and nothing changed. And now they accept. But was a quite tough period to tell everybody that
you can have many families. Publicly, was it difficult when you, as a personality, everybody thought you were straight, and you came out publicly? Was reaction difficult, or were you surprised by the acceptance?
Fortunately, people is better than the parties and the priest that general guide them. So I was opposed by the rightist parties and the conservative church of that time. I'm talking about the beginning of the 2000s. We had Pope Ratzinger that was very conservative. So I had problem with the church of that time, a problem with the rightist party, but I have no problem with the audience because they were in love with me because they loved my program about nature, history, science, culture, because I am a good person, I'm honest, and I'm clean, and I remain like this.
Yes.
So at the beginning was a surprise, was a big surprise, but for the people, the common people, was a very, very short problem. Now it's okay, it's perfect. The problem is the question they posed to me. But Alex, you were straight. You were a wonderful Spanish woman. What happened to you? How could happen something like this? They were worried that can happen to them too. Like an accident.
They would be so lucky. You know, I also was almost married to a woman when I was 20 something. She was the loveliest, most beautiful, smartest girl. But then I was 24 or so, and I told myself, okay, so we were living together, and I told myself, now is the time to get married, right? But I also told myself, you love her, but you're not in love with her. And that was the difference for me. And
that's a good point.
Then I told myself, you know, that would be unfair both to you and to her. Both of you deserve better.
That's a great point. Can I propose a toast to this point? Because I can answer when they call me to know what's happened. I was in love. I love her, but
wasn't in love.
I didn't want. I didn't love. Okay. I understood. It's perfect.
So now you have to answer a question. Okay? Look at me. As you know already, I was 4 years in the army. I'm a nerd. I'm the nerdiest nerd there is. You know, never in trouble with police, never in trouble with army police. I pay my taxes. I'm a good boy. Where in the world have I been in jail? And it's not in Israel. In the Vatican.
Because of your homosexuality?
No.
Why?
I was shooting my food show, and I decided that I was going to talk about some pasta dish, but I was so bored with food television already, because, you know, what do you do when you do television shows about food? You fake orgasms. You always say, this is so good, I love this, I love that. Come on, enough. So I said I want to make it different. So I said, I talk about pasta in the Vatican while dressed as a Swiss guard of the Pope.
No!
So here I am dressed as a Swiss guard of the Pope, you know, with all the pom-poms and everything. Millions of Korean tourists come to take pictures with me. And then I'm arrested by the local police. It turns out that it's okay, but you have to pay for a permit to shoot in the Vatican, and it's $5,000 a day. And of course, being Israelis, we didn't pay. We went to jail.
That's good. How is the jail in Vatican?
Actually, it's very nice. We were a group of people. Some of us were crying, some of us were laughing, some of us were taking selfies. We're Israelis. We're very, you know, free. And I think that the policemen had enough of us, so they made coffee for us and they sent us away. But they said, don't you ever do it again.
I have something to tell you about the way of feeling that I all the time I feel in Tel Aviv when I come. When I was for the parade, for the gay parade, was my that time boyfriend. Very, 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 very handsome, blonde, blue hair, white skin. But that time I didn't feel so comfortable because everybody tried to catch him. Was a very bad idea to the parade with me.
Stupid Israelis, they should have tried to catch you. Come on.
Fortunately, that's why I want to come back, because now I have to tell you, I'm single now. So the best place to find a new partner is Tel Aviv. I'm sure about this.
We'll find you a nice Jewish husband and you'll be one of us. I promise you. Come to Tel Aviv, you'll be a hit.
I'm okay. I can't say the same because I think you are a very faithful husband.
Yes.
So
Yes.
you can come to visit me with your husband and nothing happened.
I must tell you that the day I stepped into my unit in the intelligence service, I saw him for the first time, and I told myself, it can't be true that there are men so handsome in this world. You know, I saw him and I immediately knew that that's it. And we've been together for 32 years now.
It's a fairy tale.
There are, you know, the hard parts too, but I don't know. He's cool. He's a professor of computer science, and he's wonderful. I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining.
No, I can understand. Congratulations. I'm just a little bit jealous, but in the right way. Which is your age? How old are you both?
I can be your father. I'm 58 years old.
I'm 2.
Really? You were born in 1962?
61.
Ah, so you're even a bit older. And Danny is 3 years...
I'm your father. I'm your father.
Respect, Papa. And Danny is 3 years older than me, but he looks much better.
Please take note. I prefer younger.
You do. We'll find you somebody young, don't worry.
Around 30, 35, if possible.
Don't
possible. If possible.
40 and up.
Maybe. Listen, back to the army. I was very fond of your army because of the historical reason why. My family was also in the past very close to the Jewish people and to the Jewish search for the return to the holy the holy place. But I fell in love with Sahal about homosexuality thanks to the famous movie by my friend Eytan Fox.
You know Eytan?
Yes.
He's a dear friend.
You know, when I saw the movie about the 2 guys in love into the army during the Lebanon campaign, for an Italian, was something incredible.
So let me tell you 2 stories about the Israeli Defense Force that shows, I think that they show how liberal Israel is. One is that I think that 3 or 4 years ago on Gay Pride, the Israeli Air Force posted on their Facebook page a picture of 2 male soldiers holding hands. And they printed Happy Pride on the page of the Israeli Air Force. So, you know, they got a lot of likes, but some people from the religious right said, this is a crying shame. This is our army, 2 men holding hands. The Israeli Air Force's answer was, love is love, Happy Pride. Isn't it wonderful?
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
I have a good story about the Italian Navy.
Yes.
Yes, because we had the first civil partnership between sailors, in this case lesbians, two public, and our Secretary of Defense was the first one to send congratulations and to make it in public. So also liberal is our army, especially the Navy.
Nice. Nice. Okay. If I come to Positano, maybe I'll join the Italian Navy because I'm also a very, very proud lesbian, as you may see. Yes. So.
Yes, of course.
Of course.
But because they have 2 problems. They have to be accepted as lesbians and they have to be accepted as a women. So yes, they are stronger than us.
Yeah, much stronger and much more beautiful. Another story about, not the new, but then another story about the Israeli army. During the first Clinton administration in the US, Danny and I were living in San Francisco. Danny was doing his studies in California and we were living there. And there was this whole issue of gays in the army in the United States, don't ask, don't tell, and they were trying to find ways. And Danny and I looked at one another and we said, what's wrong with them? the Israeli chief of staff, the head of Tzahal, the head of the army, made it his business to issue a statement that in Israel, gays are not accepted to the army. They're expected to do their service because they're citizens in the country and they're like everybody else and they belong in the army. So, you know, it's sad that we have an army, and it's sad that there is an ongoing dispute between Israel and Palestine, and we all hope that one day it would be resolved and the Palestinians would get their liberty that they deserve. But still, having said all that, it's good that your army is at least liberal and modern and not, you know, something that belongs in the past. Now a geographical question.
Yeah.
I always ask about Italy.
Yeah.
Where does the north stop and the south begin? And people tell me it depends where you live.
I'm in Rome now.
Yes. This is northern Italy or southern Italy?
In the very center.
I know, geographically it's the center. But would Romans consider themselves as southerners or northerns?
The best at all.
Okay.
You know, because of the empire, you know, because of the ancient history, because of the Colosseum. What else?
Yes. And the Titus Gate with you know. Yes. Listen,
Gil, I would like to know something more about your everyday life. You told me something about that you are married, but you are not. You decide to have a ceremony or something like that.
We in Israel, not for gay lib issues, but in Israel, you can only get married through the rabbinical system, through the religious system. So gays cannot get married. You can do a civilian agreement that is accepted by the state for everything.
The same in Italy.
In Italy. And but we didn't get married because I'm not sure that gays and lesbians should necessarily imitate all the ceremonies of straight people. So I know that I'm with Danny. I know that we're a family. I know that we have a daughter that we love so much. I don't need this stampa of marriage to tell me that I'm okay. So we never bothered to try and get married. Having said all that, being, you know, a minor celebrity in Israel, I marry couples. Many people who want to have a ceremony but don't want to do it with a rabbi come to me, and I put them together, and we do a little ceremony.
Really? I can come to ask you to marry me and the new partner I'm going to find out in Tel Aviv?
It's a package deal, Alessandro. I find you a Jewish husband. I'm the rabbi. You get married, and your children will be my grandchildren because I'm your father.
I'm so happy and thankful. But you know why I wanted to be married?
Yes.
Because I like parties.
We'll have a party even without marriage, I promise you.
But you know, the marriage parties are very particular. I remember mine was great. We were on the beach close to Rome with fireworks. So it was everybody naked, swimming in the night. It was very nice.
Sounds wild, I must say. You know, I'm usually so excited in marriages that I immediately start crying. Therefore, I am called the weeping rabbi, the crying rabbi, because when I marry the couples, the minute they start talking, I start crying more than the mothers. So prepare yourself.
You're great. Now, I have another point to explain why I'd like to marry again, because yes. I love to be married. Because of my wife was super. But,
are you still in touch, by the way?
Oh, very good. We are still the most important person of the opposite sex With my mother, my wife is still the woman of my life.
Nice.
And the point is that I spent a lot of time as an activist, independent activist, to ask marriage for gays and lesbians in Italy. Now we got the civil partnership. But after years and years to give a civil partnership to my brothers and sisters of LGBT movement, now I want to have it to. Yes. I gave to the others. I have not mine. You know,
it's only
not
fair.
Good.
Even with an Israeli, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm working on it. Before we part, two things. One, in case of, I know that you're very popular in Italy, so maybe he will be watching this. My niece, the daughter of my brother, has a boyfriend, an Italian guy, and Michele, and they can't meet because he's trapped in the north of Italy and there are no flights. So if Michele watches this, Michele, we love you. We want you to come to Israel.
Ciao,
we study Italian for you. So come to Israel the moment the borders are open. Alessandro will marry a nice Israeli and you will marry my niece. That's for Michele.
If you want, we can make the ceremony for Michele and
Dana is the name of my niece.
In Positano.
Very nice, very nice. So they live next to Jerusalem. There will be two ceremonies, one next to Jerusalem and one in Positano.
And mine in Tel Aviv.
Yes, of course. I will be the rabbi, you will be the priest.
No. I don't feel like a priest. I'm just a civil servant, civil officer.
Okay.
My dear,
one last thing.
Thank you.
One last thing. I want to show you this. This is my book in English.
Yeah.
This is my book in Chinese. It was translated to Chinese. Not yet translated to Italian. And that's your job. I find you a husband, you find me an Italian publisher.
I can translate and make an introduction.
Good. So it's a done deal.
Is it your biography or what?
It's a memoir. It's stories about my family. It's stories about a crazy family living in Jerusalem and thinking that they are all gods.
Allora, Gil, please, tell the friends of the embassy to send me a copy.
I will send you a copy with an invitation to your wedding.
Yes, and okay, thank you very much. Accepted. Good luck. So nice to meet you. Bye, Gil.
Keep healthy and see you very soon.
Bye-bye. Say goodbye
Shalom,
to my
shalom.
beloved Tel Aviv. Ciao.
Ciao.
Shalom.